And good evening. We begin with the latest development on immigration. Salvadoran national Kilmar Abrego Garcia released from custody in the state of Tennessee. He was deported to an El Salvador prison back in March until a judge ordered his return back to the United States. Garcia is now on his way back to his family in Maryland. He's now facing human smuggling charges and allegations of being a member of the MS-13 gang. He has pleaded not guilty in response to Abrego Garcia's return. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says it was, quote, a complete disregard for the safety of the American people. And Ghislaine Maxwell's interview with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche now released to the public. Maxwell saying she never witnessed anything untoward in President Trump's friendship with Epstein and never heard of any allegations that he acted inappropriately.
They were friendly, like people are in social settings. I don't think they were close friends, or I certainly never witnessed the president in any of, I don't recall ever seeing him in his house, for instance. I actually never saw the president in any type of massage setting.
According to the transcript, she doesn't believe Epstein died of a suicide, but offered no speculation as to why he died, saying that she never saw Epstein blackmail anyone. Maxwell also clarifying multiple times that she is not aware of any client list. The Department of Justice gave Maxwell limited immunity so that she could discuss her criminal case, but did not promise any other benefits in exchange for her testimony. Prior to the transcript's release, President Trump told reporters he supported transparency in this case. Maxwell, a British socialite, was Jeffrey Epstein's longtime confidant. She was convicted of aiding him in sexually abusing and trafficking underage girls. And former National Security Advisor John Bolton has returned to his Maryland home. This after the FBI conducted a search there at his home and at his Washington office. Bolton served in President Trump's first administration as National Security Advisor, later becoming critical of the president. The investigation is over potential mishandling of classified information. Vice President J.D. Vance says the probe is still in the early stages and may result in no crime. He adds that Bolton is not being targeted for political reasons, but for broad concerns. After serving in the Trump administration during his first term, Bolton wrote a book in 2020 critical of President Trump. The DOJ at that time began investigating him for disclosing classified information in that book. That probe was closed during Biden's presidency. When asked, President Trump commented that he didn't know about the raid, but that he has instructed Attorney General Pam Bondi to do what she has to do. And National Guard troops deployed in Washington, D.C. now have authorization to carry weapons. President Trump saying he plans to beautify the areas surrounding the White House and the Capitol building. NTD correspondent Jason Blair reports.
The nearly 2,000 National Guard troops deployed in the nation's capital have been authorized to carry weapons. The move was confirmed by the Pentagon on Friday, and the National Guard troops on the ground here in Washington, D.C. could start carrying their guns within the coming days. However, they will not be allowed to make arrests. A U.S. official told Fox News at the direction of the Secretary of Defense, JTF D.C. members supporting the mission to lower the crime rate in our nation's capital will soon be on a mission with their service-issued weapons, consistent with their mission and training. President Trump says he's contemplating how long the additional law enforcement in Washington will continue.
How long do we stay? Because if we stay, we want to make sure it doesn't come back. So we have to take care of these criminals and get them out of it. We've collected hundreds of career criminals.
Trump also says his administration will be asking Congress for $2 billion to help clean up D.C. He says he plans to use some of it to beautify the areas within a few miles around the White House and the Capitol building.
We're going to head out right from the Capitol and the White House, and if you look at a circle and go about 3 miles out, it's going to be beautiful. We're going to have this place beautified within a period of 12 months.
Secretary of the Interior Doug Burgum told Newsmax that the park police in D.C. have been working to clean up the homeless encampments in the federal parks.
The U.S. Park Police has removed all 72 of the homeless encampments that were on on U.S. park property in this metro area.
From the Oval Office, President Trump gives his long-term vision for D.C.
This will be one of the safest places anywhere on earth.
Reporting in Washington, D.C., Jason Blair, NTD News.
President Trump detailing new funding plans for renovations. This as the White House touts progress in its ongoing crackdown on crime. NTD's Washington correspondent Mariotsu has more from the White House.
We're spending a lot of money wisely on making it really beautiful. It's going to be beautiful again.
President Trump announcing today that he'll be renovating the Kennedy Center, which will host the 2026 World Cup draw on December 5th.
In Washington, D.C., we have the lowest crime numbers they've had in years. 0 murders in the last week since we've done this. That's the first time in memory that that's happened.
President Trump is declaring these beautification efforts in the same breath as the crackdown on D.C. crime, saying he's making the Capitol cleaner and safer to prepare for America's 250th birthday next year.
As a nation, we should be preparing for a most spectacular birthday party.
Last night, in an outing with police and National Guard troops, the president announced he'll be renovating D.C. parks and green spaces.
Look, we're going to have all brand new, beautiful grass. You know, we have a life and grass has a life. And the grass here died about 40 years ago.
Highlighting he's good with grass because of his golf courses.
I know more about grass than any human being, I think, anywhere in the world.
President Trump says he will be raising funds from Congress for this revamping.
We're going to be raising about $2 billion from Congress. We're going to head out right from the Capitol and the White House, and if you look at a circle and go about 3 miles out, it's going to be beautiful.
Adding that he has already spoken to Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune about getting the money to beautify the city, and he predicts it will even be bipartisan.
They're ready. Everybody wants to save D.C. In one way, it's the easiest. The violence was more than any other city in the country.
This as the White House is announcing today that there have been 719 arrests and 91 illegal guns seized since the crackdown began in D.C. on August 7th.
They needed help. They don't like to say it. I wish they'd say, I need help. I wish the mayor of D.C. would say, you know, we're overridden with crime and we need help, instead of saying the stats are down. I mean, they're under investigation now for fake numbers.
And Press Secretary Leavitt yesterday highlighting an op-ed written by NTD's White House reporter Iris Tao about her story of being robbed at gunpoint. Leavitt thanks Tao for sharing her story, saying that every White House reporter knows that Washington, D.C. has a serious crime problem, but that few will admit it. Reporting from the White House, Mariotsu, NTD News.
California and Texas both moving forward with their redistricting plans. We'll be hearing from both sides on the issue. Right now to discuss, Democratic Texas Congressman Al Green joins us live in studio. Congressman, great to have you with us.
It's my honor to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you joining us, Congressman. So the Texas Senate is advancing this new electoral map. Do you agree with the predictions that all 5 contested seats will flip Republican in Texas? And what impact do you think this might have in Congress?
Well, I don't want to agree that they will, but they are designed to do this. But I do think that sometimes we have expectations that don't always materialize. And the impact in Congress is going to be that there will be fewer African-American seats from Texas. There won't be one that we would ordinarily have in Houston. We'll lose one. And then we'll lose one out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So we'll lose 2 African-American seats.
Now, Congressman, Texas Democrats couldn't stop that vote by leaving the state. However, they did draw a lot of attention to the issue. Do you think their protest was a success in a certain sense?
Yes, it was. And it was a success because it has caused people across the nation to understand that cheating is taking place in Texas. And California is responding. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction to a certain extent in politics. And California will hopefully recover those 5 votes if they're lost. But I would also say this, California is not doing what Texas is doing, because what Texas is doing is race-based. They're doing this, if you'll recall in the letter from the Attorney General, there were 4 of those districts that are represented by minority persons, and they have worked hard to make sure that those districts are going to be eliminated or changed.
Now, Congressman, California voters, as you mentioned, they're going to weigh in on the issue in November, aim to counterbalance Texas. Do you think it will pass in California, and what is your take on the efforts to boost Democratic seats?
Well, I'm not steeped in the knowledge of California politics, but the prognostication is that this will happen. Of course, they have to take it to the people, and I think that's appropriate. I think the people should weigh in. My hope is that the people will understand what's happening and how votes are being stolen, and how in Congress, one vote can make a difference. One vote helped us to pass the ugly bill that we're all talking about now, the great big ugly steal, as it were, as I see it. One vote in the House and one vote in the Senate. In fact, the Vice President had to come over to the Senate to break the tie. So one vote can make a difference in Congress, and we have to try to maintain the balance of power that we have now, and let's let the next election make the change if there's to be some change.
No doubt about it. The majority in the House of Representatives and the Senate, razor thin. Redistricting does appear to have become a bit of a partisan arms race. Is there any path forward, in your opinion, for a long-term, fair, and constitutional solution?
Well, I think that the Supreme Court should revisit the Voting Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the one that came into being because of what happened to John Lewis in person and the Edmund Pettus Bridge on Bloody Sunday, which gave Lyndon Johnson the authority that he needed to push through the House and the Senate, the Voting Rights Act, which bars the discrimination against African Americans that is taking place now. People say that it's racial. I agree. But I also would go on to say that it really is a racist act that's taking place in Texas, regrettably. But Texas has a history of denying votes to people of color. Texas was a state that had white-only primary. And after whites-only primaries were overruled by the Supreme Court, Texas then moved to a white-only pre-primary. So Texas doesn't have a good history when it comes to the voting rights of minorities, and this is just the latest iteration of how they can take votes from minorities.
Texas Congressman Al Green, appreciate you joining us to share your perspective.
Thank you very much.